Want to know why? Ask how. Howard the Humongous. The last week of September and the first days of October were really bad news for Donald Trump. After mishandling the coronavirus crisis and mocking public health measures like masks, Donald Trump himself came down with, guess what? COVID-19, and was helicoptered to Walter Reed Hospital on the evening of Friday, October 2nd. But that wasn't Donald Trump's only piece of bad news. The first presidential debate between Trump and his Democratic rival Joe Biden took place just 3 days before Trump's hospitalization, and it is conceivable, just conceivable, that the debate will lose Trump the election. How bad was the debate for Donald Trump? One of President Trump's most ferocious defenders, Fox News' Tucker Carlson, called the debate highly depressing and painful, and lamented that this is a great country. The most decent people in the world live here. We ought to be proud of the fact we're Americans, proud of our culture, proud of our history. Most of us want it all to continue. But last night's debate gave us little confidence that will happen. World News Daily, a fervently pro-Trump news outlet, said that Donald Trump was all over the place throughout the night. His punches didn't land as hard as they did 4 years ago, and his new opponent was not as easily demonized as Hillary Clinton. But the president never stopped interrupting, which at some point became the issue itself. The World News Daily article concluded that the 98 minutes marked the return of Trump as the chaos candidate. Remember, that's from a feverishly pro-Trump publication, and they called him the chaos candidate. The debate smashed Donald Trump's odds in the betting markets. Yahoo News reported that the betting exchange called Smarkets pegged Biden's odds at 62%, with Trump's chances dwindling proportionately to 39%, 38%. That's a 24% difference, and it's what Yahoo News calls a sharp reversal of the momentum the president demonstrated just before Labor Day. Meanwhile, Yahoo News continued, another betting exchange, the British-based Odds Checker, found that the former VP's implied probability, Biden's probability, has shot up to over 58%, while Trump's has fallen to around 42%. In what Yahoo News called the market's biggest swing since April. But that's not all. Yahoo News went on to report that, as a result of the debate, several observers now think Biden's coattails are long enough to pull off a sweep of the Senate, putting the levers of Washington entirely under Democratic control. Smarkets estimates that outcome at 60%. That would mark a stunning reversal in the direction of the United States. Then there were the polls from mainstream media, including Instapolls. Instapolls quiz people before the debate, then question them again immediately after the debate is over. CNN's Instapoll said 60% believe Biden won the debate, only 28% thought the winner was Trump, a difference of an astonishing 32%. CBS said 47% thought Biden was the winner, only 40% gave the victor's crown to Donald Trump. According to the New York Times, overall in the Instapolls, Biden's favorability rating went up an average of 4% and Trump's went down 4%. And in one of the few normal polls that came in immediately after the debates, the Change Research poll, Biden dominated by 13%. It was Biden 54%, Trump's 41%. Even Rasmussen, a staunch Republican pro-Trump polling organization, had Biden up a whopping 12% over Trump 3 days after the debate. But the most ominous problem for Donald Trump was articulated by a Fox News radio commentator who declared that the debate was really hard to watch because you had a president who didn't have any respect for the moderator or for his opponent. Added the Fox News commentator, it harmed Americans to see their president go down to this level. Yes, this was on a radio channel of Fox News, Trump's biggest cheerleader. And the conclusion was that Trump harmed Americans. How did Trump inflict this harm on the nation he heads? The commentators from both the left and right agreed that this was a history-making debate, a debate unlike any that has ever occurred in our lifetimes, and possibly in the 244 years since America's Declaration of Independence. One Fox News radio commentator called the debate a multi-car crash. Another Fox News radio commentator called it a food fight and implied that the president was the one throwing the food. The mainstream media was even more appalled. CNN's Wolf Blitzer said this was the most chaotic presidential debate I have ever seen. CNN's Anderson Cooper called it a hot mess inside a dumpster fire. And Cooper opined that it was not a debate, it was a disgrace. As a result, some speculated that it would be the last Trump-Biden debate ever. But Bill Stepien, manager of Trump's 2020 campaign, issued a radically different evaluation. An evaluation that was almost certainly written by Donald Trump himself. Quote, President Trump just turned in the greatest debate performance in presidential history. Why was this first debate so devastating for Donald Trump? Because it revealed who Trump really is. The debate wasn't a debate of policies and facts. It was a battle of styles and attitudes. The president focused on what one Fox News radio commentator called below-the-belt attacks. Trump apparently believed his own Sleepy Joe propaganda and felt that if he attacked hard enough and broke the debate rules long enough, he could wear Biden down or reduce Biden to a senile, mumbling fool. That never happened. Biden's strength, integrity, and humor held up from beginning to end. Meanwhile, Trump spat out more lies than I can count. CNN called it an avalanche of lies, and CNN only fact-checked 20 out of the night's Trump lies, then apparently gave up. Biden embodied the decency he wants to restore to the nation, at least in my opinion. But what did Donald Trump embody? What did he reveal? A bully who thinks that rules do not apply to him. At one point, it looked like Donald Trump was challenging Joe Biden to a fistfight. That came when Biden said about the COVID pandemic that President Trump disagrees with his own scientists. A lot of people have died, and a lot more will die, until he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker. That brought Trump rearing up to his full height like a furious father standing up at a dinner table and spitting out this, quote, "Did you use the word smart? You said you went to Delaware State. You even got the name of the college wrong. You graduated at or near the bottom of your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me." A quick fact check. Joe Biden never said he went to Delaware State, a college that gave him an honorary degree. He got his law degree from Syracuse University, and yes, he was in the bottom 25% of his class. Trump's grades, on the other hand, were apparently so abysmal that he has threatened all the schools he went to with unholy hell and lawsuits if they release his transcripts. So it's not surprising that Biden defended himself with words that you do not expect in a normal presidential debate. Quote, "You've picked the wrong guy on the wrong night in the wrong place," he said. Then he turned to the camera and said, "Folks, do you have any idea of what this clown is doing? He has already cost 10 million their health care with his recession." He could have added that he's also lost 200,000 people their lives. Another typical slice of the debate went like this. President Trump said he has a new health plan. Biden said he hasn't. In fact, Biden said Trump does not have a plan for anything. A lack of plans is, Biden said, one of Trump's greatest flaws. How did Trump respond? He stomped all over moderator Chris Wallace and wouldn't let him ask a question. Then Trump seemingly tried to take over as the commander-in-chief of the debate, declaring that he should be asking the questions, and elbowing Chris Wallace out, but Wallace somehow hung in there. Then Trump spat out that if a COVID vaccine is delayed, quote, It's because of people like Joe Biden who care more about politics than they do about human lives, close quote. Trump bragged about the COVID-19 pandemic. We did a phenomenal job. Then he made an odd accusation, a possibly racist accusation. You could never have done the job we did, Trump told Joe Biden sneeringly. You don't have it in your blood. Note that line, in your blood. It's straight out of the so-called scientific racism of the 1930s, the racism of Adolf Hitler. It seems to imply that because Biden is Irish American and Trump is German and Scottish American, Trump is of a superior race, a superior bloodline. But that wasn't all. To advance his attack, Trump growled, "You didn't do well on swine flu. You were a disaster." But Trump was shooting himself in the foot. Under Barack Obama, the 2009 swine flu killed only 12,469 Americans. If COVID had been handled as well as swine flu, roughly 200,000 dead Americans would still be alive today. Then Donald Trump tried to hammer home the message that, quote, there has never been a president who has done more than I've done. Joe Biden disagreed profoundly. He told Trump, you're the worst president America's ever had. More important, Biden declared that this election is about decency. It's about the Constitution. It's about equity. Trump radiated viciousness and the willingness to trample every norm again. Joe Biden radiated humor and decency. Finally came the most chilling topic of all. Wallace asked if Trump loses, will he leave the White House peacefully? Trump repeated his claim that there is massive mail-in ballot fraud with hundreds of thousands of phony ballots. He spat that the Democrats have mailmen selling ballots. They are being sold. They're being found in wastebaskets. They're being found in rivers. And Trump revealed that if he loses, he is planning to contest the results and take it all the way to the Supreme Court. A Supreme Court that he hopes to pack with a third judge before the election. Most dangerously, when it comes to the election, Trump spat out a warning. This is not going to end well. In other words, Donald Trump did not commit to a peaceful transition of power. No wonder lifelong Republican Olivia Troy, former counterterrorism and Homeland Security advisor to Vice President Mike Pence and an ex-member of the White House Coronavirus Response Task Force, said a few days before the debate that, quote, it's actually frightening to me. Because to be honest, during my tenure at the White House, I had conversations behind closed doors with White House staffers and other government officials, including people in the intelligence community, where we've actually discussed what if. What if he loses and refuses to leave? Or better yet, what if his plan is 4 more years of Donald Trump should he win, and will he even leave after that? Fox News' Tucker Carlson, who, as I said, is one of Trump's biggest champions, saw things differently. He declared that, quote, Biden all but admitted on stage that he plans to tear down our system. But he did it in a calm, this is your captain speaking voice, argued Carlson. Nothing Trump said on stage was radical. Virtually nothing he ever says is radical, at least if you compare it to public opinion polling on the issues. It's his tone that rattles people. Trump could make a wine list sound menacing. In other words, President Donald Trump used the debate stage to show what he means when he claims to be smart and tough. He means bullying, lying, cruelty, and putting himself on top at any cost. Trump showed what he means when he says about protests and riots that he and his government of flatterers must dominate the streets. He tried to dominate the debate like an alpha chimpanzee, brutally suppressing his opponents. Trump did not show the instincts of a democratic leader. He showed how deeply and how savagely he has the instincts of a dictator. Now we have to see if Donald Trump's illness wins him a sympathy vote. But sympathy or not, in the end, the debate made it clear that we have a choice, between cruelty and lies or decency. As Fox News Radio said, this was a food fight. But if we're lucky, it will produce food for thought, and if we're even luckier, it will drive Donald Trump from power. This is Howard Loom, speaking to you from the future. It's your job and my job to make, or want to know why? Ask how. And now, for that sneaky, sleazy, slimy, seditious little off button, I think I've got it.